My name's Aaron. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm fantastic and I'm doing really well. And today I am reviewing Tom Ford Rose d'Amalfi. And there were 3 rose fragrances which I got, and I'm going to be reviewing the other 2 after this one at a time. But I'm going to start with this one because it was the first one to come up. Rose d'Amalfi Eau de Parfum from the Private Blend collection. The notes are Rose, Neo Absolute, Heliotrope, and Bergamot. And that is it. Does it say anything about it? Tom Ford invites you on a floral journey through his private rose garden. I love a rose garden. I think it'd be cool. With a trio of scents inspired by his own blooms. The designer creates the first of Eau de Parfum collection, Rose d'Amalfi from the Private Blend collection, invoking moments spent soaking up rays along the Amalfi coast. We said just before this that there's a Amalfi fragrance which I really love, that blue one, which was for women, but I would totally wear that. Infused with Rose, Neo Absolute, and Heliotrope before closing on aromas of bergamot. All that's left is to pop it in your suitcase and make a beeline for the airport. Okay, I'm going right now. This is 178 for 50ml. I can't remember how much these were. So I got these in the Trafford Centre in Manchester city centre. And there's a Tom Ford man. He's really nice. He's really pleasant, loves his work, loves Tom Ford, very nice, always spends time with me. He's just very, very nice. When I go shopping for Tom Ford now, I go to him. That sort of experience makes you want to go back to that person. So absolutely, that shopping experience is very, very important. And if I buy Perfume de Marly, if I don't buy it online, I go to the other Trafford Centre. There's a really amazing girl. I'm going to get her name. She's really, really nice. And I really like her. And I always make a beeline for her, which is kind of interesting, isn't it? If I go there and she's there, I always go shopping when I'm there. And that shopping experience I think is really important. When we open our shops, which we are going to be doing at some point, I'm going to be using my experience of when I go shopping, and it's a Karen me as a way not to treat people. Apparently these can be layered on top of rose prick or layered together in different ways. He was talking about it, but I kind of forgotten. Do we have our bottles of Rose d'Amalfi? Are we engaged with our high self? Let's get testing. So rose is my most favorite raw material actually, and I am developing a rose-based fragrance and developing a few, lots of ideas. There's lots of things you can do with rose. Rose on its own always surprises people. The color, the viscosity, the way it moves, the thickness, the flow, how it looks even. It looks like dark red, a bit like an oil. It isn't essential, but it's very thick. It doesn't move how you think. It doesn't smell like how you think. And my problem with rose fragrances is they never smell like rose. They smell like rose water or sweets or something, but they don't really smell like what I consider rose. And I did have a rose fragrance which I loved actually. I do have some which I wear, I love it. And it never did well because of the name Rose. So when I release a rose-based fragrance, it won't have rose in the title. So I learned from that. I'm always learning as I go along. So I'm allowing it to settle because I kind of want to get in on the dry down. I have worn these because if I love rose, and I think that's really, really fair. This is light, airy, ozonic, suitable for the sun. So this would be great for the summer. Not really dark, not really sensual, not really badass. But I imagine this would be layered over something would be great. I'd layer this over something. So what you're smelling when you get below the building blocks is the acetates mixed with rose oxide. That's quite apparent in this, and the rose oxide mixed with the pepper is giving it a bite. So this is like light and airy with a bite. A little bit baby powder like, but not really. This is Hedione based. In most modern perfumery, you have Hedione and Isu Super, or Isu Super and Hedione, or Hedione on its own, and or Isu Super on its own. Because they smell like modern perfumery, they're very safe, they're allergen free, and they're great building blocks. It's indispensable. And Hedione and Isu Super as the base gives you this, which is light and airy, aquatic sort of feel to it. It can do. That's how I would have built this. Super complex. And in rose-based perfumery, you would absolutely have phenyl ether alcohol and linalool compound. This aspect has ethyl linalool, which is sweeter and acts as a fixative and has lift to it. It has like a lift and sweetness to it, which is what you're detecting within here. Clean white musks. Lots of lift from a top note, pear musk. So this is like light, airy, fruity, aquatic, a little bit of vanilla, ethyl vanillin, heliotropin. Heliotropin is one of my most favorite things. And heliotropin, as we know from my previous videos, is the precursor to MDMA. And it can smell a bit almondy, but it smells so much more than almondy. It's kind of a bit cherry-like, a bit almondy-like. It's very nice on its own. It can smell narcotic as well, mixed with other things. But it's a great starting block. But within things, it gives a dry sweetness. This is a dry sweetness to it. On to my final thoughts. I think for the summer, this is a great fragrance. It doesn't smell like Tom Ford, to be honest. I wonder if the Perfumer was French or something, or maybe that. It smells quite French. This smells something like Dior would release, but Dior would put more musk in it or would do something with it to make it robust. My criticism with it is it's light, too airy, not substantial. But talking about Rose d'Amalfi is on that beautiful Italian coast, and I think it's perfect for the summer when you really don't want sort of something like heavy and clawing. You kind of want something very light and airy. So with Rose d'Amalfi is going to be suitable for, like it said, go on a plane right now, which I'm going to go after this video. I'm just going to run away somewhere. But that's what I think it's suitable for. I don't think it's suitable for, in my opinion, I wouldn't recommend it for daily wear. It needs to be layered over the top. It's way too top heavy. After 20 minutes, half an hour, it's gone completely. And that's my criticism with it. It's kind of not substantial enough. I'd love to see it based out a lot more, richer. Even light fragrances need the darkness to it. They need something to it. And this feels too light, too airy, too aquatic. Fleeting, gone. So I'm going to be quite honest with you, in rose-based fragrances, which are my most favorite, I love rose. I'm going to be a little bit harder on them because I think I gravitate to these sort of oriental fragrances. So in this aspect, I'm going to mark this as 7 out of 10. 178. The price for 50 ml, fleeting, gone in half an hour, I'm going to mark it as 6. It needs to be based out more, richer, smoother. It still could have all of that. I would love to have seen the Perfumer who did the Amalfi one, which I loved, which I thought was incredible, work with this and use the technology that's in that Amalfi fragrance to give it that projection and put that in that. Does that kind of make sense to you? I hope so. So if it had that, the way it's robust and strong in this, I love it. But at £160, it needs to be strong, robust, and all the rest of it. And I'm very aware that people watch these reviews and go and spend their money. I'm always rarely aware of that, and I take that very seriously. And in this aspect, for a rose-based fragrance for 160 quid, I don't feel I can recommend it, if I'm honest with you. But as I said, if rose-based fragrances are my favorite, so I'm going to be a little bit harder on them. So I hope you love that review. Thumbs up and subscribe for more fascinating, interesting content. Lots of moving hands and lots of fragrance views. Hope you're staying safe and well. See you soon.